So on this 3.1, we have a bunch of different right triangles. Today we're looking for a pattern with right triangles. And it's important that you look to see what letter it is and which leg it is. Okay, so the legs are the short part. So for A, there's a leg that has a 1, and a length of leg 2 is 1. Which means it doesn't matter which one's leg 1 and which one's leg 2. What's the area of this square right here? If it's 1 by 1, the area is 1. What's the area of this one? If it's a 1 by 1 square? 1. Oh, wait a minute. How big is the area of this square right here? How am I going to go about finding that out? What are you going to do, Quincy? Do we know how long the sides are? Oh, we can for sure find the area, and if I know the area of a square, how do I find its side length?
The square root.
You find the square root. We are going to use that fact when we discover this rule today. And so you're right, you go from corner to corner till they meet at a 90-degree angle. How do I find the area of this triangle right here? The area of any triangle is what? What's the rule? Yes.
Base times height.
No.
Divided by 2.
Thank you. Right on your paper, the area of a triangle is half of the base times the height. Not an 8th grade skill. It's a 5th grade skill or maybe a 6th grade skill, but it's most certainly not an 8th grade skill. Put it in your brain. So the base and the height are perpendicular. They form a 90-degree angle. What's 1 times 1? And half of that is half. So the area of this one is 1/2. Here, and I'll scooch it in a little bit. Okay. I've got another one, corner to corner. Oh, wait a minute, it's a 1 by 1. 1 times 1 is 1, and times half is a half. Remember, once you find the area of 1, I would double check with one more, but they're all the same. And lengths are the spaces, not the dots. What is the area of the square of this very long length right here? What's the area of that? I've got 4 halves. The area is 2. And so look on the back side. You have a chart. For triangle A, the length of leg 1 was 1. We found the area out to be 1. The length of leg 2 was also 1, so the area was 1. Ooh, the area of the square on the hypotenuse. What's the hypotenuse?
That weird angle.
Ooh, you're super close. Write yourself this. The hypotenuse is the longest leg on a right triangle. So it's always opposite of the right angle. It's always the longest one, but it has to be a right triangle. So that's a word you also know. Many have forgotten.
Legs?
So legs are the 2 short ones. The hypotenuse is the longest one on a right triangle. And it has a special name because it's the longest one.
Right.
Gets
Why
its
is
own
it called
right
leg
on a
the
right
side?
triangle. And they're called legs because, I don't know, it's a good question. They just are.
It sounds more mathematical.
And it is definitely mathematical. For B, I want you to notice that it matters which one you think is leg 1 and which one is leg 2. They're telling you the lengths. So length of leg 1 is 1. So when I turn my paper over, which one of these must be the length of leg 1? Trey? Good, this left-hand side. What's the area of this square? 1 by 1?
Yes.
What's the area? 1. I've got 2 spaces and 2 spaces. I could draw boxes in, but what do I know about the area of a square? That it's, someone told me it's 4. How could I do that without drawing the boxes in?
Count the spaces.
Yeah, 2 by 2, I'm good, is 4. Okay, so you don't have to draw the legs in. You can. I had some people whip through this last hour, and we need to improve our speed here. That's what I'd recommend. Oh, crap. What about this one? How am I going to find the area of that one? Ooh, I draw my triangles. That's right. And I generally draw the triangles first because sometimes there's a square in the middle and sometimes there isn't. Okay? So I start with 2 corners. I go straight across and straight down. You have to. I do not know how long this side length is, do I? I have to estimate. But I do know that if I go straight across and straight down, because all my dots are evenly spaced, I know how long they are. And if I form a 90-degree angle, I know the base and the height. It's a 2 by 1 triangle. So the base is 2 and the height is 1. 2 times 1 is? Half of that is 1. So the area of this is 1. I'm with you, Mrs. Smith? I'm going to go from this corner to this corner, and go straight up and down to form a 90-degree angle. 1 space, 2 spaces, the base and the height meet at a 90-degree angle. 1 times 2 is 2, and half of that is 1. If you're getting unreasonable numbers, you probably aren't dividing it by half. That's something that 8th grade's struggling with today. I've got another triangle here and another triangle here. What are you noticing about all my triangles? They're all the same size. So please don't spend a bunch of time doing that. These are all 1 and 1. Ooh, I got a box in the middle. What's the area of that? 1. So my total area of my square is 5. If I know the area of this square, what do I know about the hypotenuse? Could I find this length right here? If I know the area of the square, how do I find the side length? If I know the area of the square, how do I find the side length? You what, Katie? You have to find the square root. So really what we're ultimately going to do is try to figure out how long this is right here. Once we can find the area, we can find out this side length by just doing one more step. And so in my chart for B, the length of leg 1 and the area was what? The area on leg 1 was 1. What was the area on leg 2? Come on, folks. The area was 4. We wrote it down. Are you with me? Or no, I'm confused? Do you see where those are coming from? Area. So the length is what I already drew for you. The length was 1 and the length was 2. The leg is the 2 short sides of the triangle. So this is leg 1 and the area of that square is 1. Yes. There are 2 spaces here because this leg is 2 and then I drew a square. What is the area of the hypotenuse square? 5. Because the hypotenuse is the longest side. You and your table mates are going to fill in the rest of the chart. I do C, then D. If I were you, I would try really hard not to keep drawing boxes for G. There is a pattern. Notice that you're going to look for the pattern in the chart among the areas and make a conjecture. It means make a statement about how they're related. Go.